Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy to be here to be with you for the public gathering online. As you note that several months ago, that the US passed the Human Rights and Democracy Act of Hong Kong, and now it is the time to supervise and do the concrete action. We can see that possibly that's a protester after about a half year to protest that the people still feel fatigue. And of course, we also can see that except they withdrawn the extradition bill, no other demands have been achieved by the government. So this is a very important time that the Hong Kong people asking for the international support. The US as leading the Western allies, I think they has the obligation to stand up and to live up to the principle of democracies and human rights, to take those human rights abuse to account. So I'm Simon Chan. Suppose not so many people would know me, I would like to introduce myself. In the summer of 2019, I was adopted in the Hong Kong high-speed railway station, and I've been delivered to Shenzhen. I think that is historically the first case that the Chinese jurisdiction has been extended to the downtown of Hong Kong, and I've been one of the victims to be delivered back to Shenzhen and have been tortured. And of course, I have been forced to confess to the charges of the prostitution and also treason. As I experienced the torture, I faced a very harsh police brutality. Especially, they use the violence against the consular worker. So that is a very concerning sign to not only the UK, but also around the world, that if you have been the target by the Chinese authorities, and of course that if you have been a perfect tool for the Chinese authorities to prove that you violate so-called state security, then you possibly would be tortured and your legal rights had not been protected. And of course, you can see that the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Chinese Embassy in the UK, said there's no torture, no political prisoners, and even they said there's no internment camp in Xinjiang. I would say they have no credibility at all and obviously lied about it. I think that is a very clear signal after the Causeway Bay boat shoppers have been kidnapped, abducted, and have been charged. A few weeks ago, as you see, that Gui Minghai have been finally charged and sentenced for that case because of so-called providing the intelligence to the foreign entities. You can imagine that time when I was detained in Shenzhen for 14 days, it would never ever been the end. I would just even think that after 14 days, whether they would charge me politically, for example, espionage, and then they obviously wanted to charge me either armed rebellion or even treason. So at that time, I was in extreme danger. And I also saw a bunch of the protesters have been detained in the detention camp. Even till today, I'm luckily enough have been released, and I've been now in exile in the UK. I never ever heard any news even about my friends has been detained in mainland China until today, and also those people I don't know. I saw them have been detained. Where are they now, and what happened to them? So this very worrying signal. I've been warned by the interrogators. If I speak out, I'll be delivered from Hong Kong to mainland China. And of course, I believe so many people have been kept silent. And I'm just a few of them who dare to speak out. So in this situation, I really hope that the Hong Kong people are losing hope, not only to the system, but also they fight for their destiny. And I think we tried our best to let our voice out. So at this moment, I think it's the time for the international society to show the solidarity with the Hong Kong people. As you know, sometimes now the protests in Hong Kong have been distracted by the coronavirus origin from Wuhan, China. And lots of people, they really care about their safety. But you can see even those Chinese people in Wuhan or other places of China, they wanted to talk about what actually happens in China, have been detained, have been reprimanded, have been warned by the Chinese domestic security police. So that is quite usual and common happening in China. One of the very famous human rights lawyers and the citizen journalist, Chen Qiushi, has been still been detained and disappeared. He's very outspoken. The last video has shown he said he even not afraid of the coronavirus and death. He was not afraid of the Communist Party of China. And afterwards, he disappeared. And lots of people, they thought he would maximally would be detained for 15 days, just like my case. However, now it's about a month, has no any news afterwards. So that is the signal, not only to Chinese people as usual, but also to Hong Kong people. The Chinese state security police and their influence now penetrating in Hong Kong, and still they have ability and power to kidnap those people who stand against the Chinese party and the power back to mainland China, disappeared, and then they would claim they voluntarily back to mainland China for the confession. And of course, as you see, the Guiman Hkcat, they have been so-called voluntarily reinstate the Chinese nationality himself. It's ridiculous, as you see, because obviously if Gui Minhai has been reinstated the Chinese nationality, he would lose any consular protection from the foreign government, from his mother country, Sweden. So I believe that lots of US citizens living in Hong Kong as well. I believe the US government also care about your citizens in Hong Kong. Their legal rights should be protected. And of course, that for the business interest and national security and also the world order, the Hong Kong's autonomy and rule of law should be protected. Don't believe any works of rule of law claimed by the Hong Kong police and of course the Chinese police. Because what's so-called the rule of law, actually they never ever question about who make those laws. It's about the powerful few who make those laws. And those people now, they're asking for democracy rights because they wanted to make the process of legislation could be more fair and could be considered the most people's voice and opinions. So here is a time for the international society, especially the US, to take the action to look through and to investigate who abused the human rights and suppressed the people and violate the international human rights treaty. For example, like my case, I've been tortured. Definitely, they need to be held account. So here, I will stand with the Hong Kong people and urge the US government to take the concrete action to finish their duty. Thank you so much.